I had a near-death experience, and that's an extremely humbling event. It's like a TV commercial. I was working at home late one night back in February. Suddenly I was short of breath, my heart was pounding. My wife, for whatever reason, happened to wake up and say, "What's wrong?" This is like 1 o'clock in the morning now. These things don't happen at convenient times, of course. About 45 minutes later, she says, "I can hear your lungs gurgling." She said, "Let's go to the hospital." Next thing you know, I'm in the ICU on a ventilator, and my overall health is declining very quickly.
He had a ruptured mitral valve that was not diagnosed at the first hospital that he went to, and I had him transferred here about a day later in a very, very, very dire situation. He was very unstable.
This was all unfolding during an inopportune time because it was in the middle of a snowstorm. They couldn't air transport me, but they sent the ambulance out. And as my wife said, I never realized just how incredible the MedStar Transport system was. They came into this other hospital, they swooped me up, stabilized me, and had me back to the hospital center in no time.
And when he got here, shortly after, they made the diagnosis, and then they took him to surgery the next day, and they saved his life.
They did the right thing, not the expeditious thing, because it takes a special temperament and a special skill to repair a mitral valve versus replacing a valve. But I really appreciate that they even went through that decision model, because that greatly affects my quality of life for the rest of my life. Now I can return to a full life without any negative impact because of that decision. You know, those are the intangibles that you get when you have a quality program.
The nurses were incredible. All the physicians involved were incredible. It was just such a great team effort, and I was so proud that I was here and worked here and saw actually, you know, as a patient's spouse, I saw the professionalism, the care, the compassion. It was just unbelievable. I wouldn't want anybody to go anywhere else if they had a heart problem than here. The foundation is really the quality of care by the physicians, the other providers, the nurses, and the passion that they have for taking care of patients here.
It's an extremely emotional experience, you know, when you realize you almost died. That wasn't on my schedule of things to do. It makes it a lot more personal. When my wife took me back to some of the critical care wards, and nurses would come out and say, "Oh man, it's so good to see you upright and moving because we almost lost you multiple times." I mean, you just like, what do you do other than say thank you? And how do you give back? You can walk through the hospital and you can see, you know, the hustle and bustle of day-to-day operations, and, you know, you can see all the challenges that go to running a huge hospital. And you can see it's a target-rich environment for needs. So my choice is to support what I know. And what I know is the good deeds of the Hospital Center Foundation and supporting this hospital.